Hello everybody, and welcome back to episode 26 of the single player Let's Play series. So today I think there are a couple of quests along the quest line that I would like to finally get done, especially for Thermal, because Thermal's quest line is pretty small, pretty straightforward, and very worthwhile. So we already made a Sterling Dynamo probably 10 episodes ago, but some of this stuff we have already done. We've already got a latex bucket, which they want the industrial foregoing variant, because we've got tons of latex over here. So what I'm going to do is start setting up a couple of thermal machines, especially some that are probably going to be pretty optional for us, and we can start putting them in this empty build that we have down here, because so far I put an induction casing down here, and I put the water filling station, but I planned on cleaning this out because, you know, frankly, the induction matrix is going to be too big of a pain to fill up at the time. I need to figure out a better way to get that filled up. So what I'll probably do is create a reactor. And for the water supply, this one is easy enough. We can just put this anywhere. So what I figured is we could probably put it somewhere that would be easy enough to find, but not too easy. So I figured what we could do is put it in here. That way we can have something like this. We could do... I don't remember what this room was for. Interesting. I'm going to put a temporary block here, and we'll do a... Let's see. So at this level... Yeah, there we go. So we'll do that. No, sorry. We'll do it here. This is the wrong block. Wow, I'm really fumbling today. Let's grab stone. Phyllosite like so. There we go. And what we can do from here is grab our tank. You can see it is emptying pretty rapidly, to be honest. And we can put these here. I think just raw phyllosite would be okay for the sides. Because it's just one side here and one side here. Because these will have to be occupied. And since these are going to have to be occupied, I guess we should probably clean them up and fill them in as well, huh? So we'll do that, this, that. Morphing tool. Like so. And that frees up the entire basement that we had set up before. And now we can just leave this here. If we ever need anything, we can always come down here and see it, but I really do think we're going to be just grand. Ooh, wrong one. That's better. We are getting some spillage from our farms we set up last episode, but for the most part, you can see we're already up to 6,000 oak wood. And we're doing really well on things like wheat or... carrots, potatoes, etc. We're doing really well there. So questline wise, I want to make an arboreal extractor, probably just the one, because again, we don't need all that much. We just need the resin bucket. They're pretty cheap though, so maybe we'll go ahead and make 4. I think that's probably not the worst idea. So let's go ahead and make 4 buckets, because I know that we have a specific amount and I don't want to get rid of that. Let's grab 16 and put these in here to be geared up. Last episode, I didn't notice that the integral component reward for making the Invar one was actually an Electrum one, so very nice, very appreciated. And as we get into thermal, what I'm probably going to do is move some of these machines downstairs and use the refined storage networking wire that we've already got over here to start automating some auto crafting down here. Because there are several recipes that I definitely feel like we should be working towards that we haven't really been automating. And stuff like gear making and plate crafting, all very, very useful. So definitely feel like that's going to be of importance sooner or later. So now if we just yoink on over here, we can grab ourselves a bucket of latex. That completes that quest reward. If we grabbed Phytogrow, which we do already have, and we want resin, right? Resin fills to be that cool looking bucket. Yeah, resin. So to get resin, fluid extractor and blah, 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 blah. What kinds of trees? Birch log, pine log. I'm assuming probably most trees by default. Aspen. Okay, that was my curiosity, was aspen specifically, because we have tons of them around. So what I'm going to do is put these here, take the phytogrow that I have, and split it up evenly, and if you put that in here, it will speed up the process by which we start to gather everything. And then we can grab some fluid, tank, and fluid, or basic pipes. I'm just ignoring this guy because he's being rude. And then, combined with our morphing tool, we can begin... Whoops. I guess we're just disassembling stuff today. Get a hint. Get a clue. So that's already almost a full bucket. That was actually pretty quick. I'm probably going to end up leaving this here just to run, because better safe than sorry. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't. And there's our resin bucket, thus completing yet another quest. Oh, we got another integral components. That's actually, like, that's a pretty great quest reward. And we got a bunch of machine frames, too. Super nice. Super nice. Very appreciated, game. Very appreciated. So we already have a fractionating still. It would be inside of here. Hello. Thank you. Because as we found several episodes ago, that's the only way to get the rubber to be crafted that you're going to need, or rather, dry plastic. No, dry rubber. That's right. To get that going. So we've already made these. Good. That seems to be working just fine. That's all I really cared about. Clean up my mess here. And you know what? I will go ahead and craft this up into plastic, because we're going to be going through some of that in the next couple of days. And then you want tree oil. Tree oil comes from fractionating resin. Okay, so we're probably going to need another fractionating still then. No problems there. That's going to be Invar. I think we might have just enough. Definitely looks to be the case. Tons of plastic for our convenience. Why is plastic a ponder item? I'm curious now. Oh, is it just showing you how to get some? Logs, acacia logs. Yeah, we already know that much. Cool. Good to know. Lots of cool stuff there. Whoops. So, looking at a fractionating still. That gets us one of those, and then we're going to need to fractionate. It honestly hasn't been that long since I've slept. They're just being really picky. We had set this up over here, right? And so we have this tank here. What I can do is just put this on top for now. Tell you to import, extract, auto pull. And so that's resin like so. I'll just hop here because I don't need to be flying. Power. I guess we'll just use one of the Ender gates. I think they should. The Ender gates last time were not functioning, but they should be. Yeah, they're live. I don't know why I decided not to. I also don't know how this happened. Interesting. Anyways, that's going to produce us some tree oil. If I look for my time in a bottle, I would like to speed this up greatly because this is pretty slow, especially because it's not something we're really focusing on at the moment. It would be different if we were focusing on tree oil. Tree oil is combustible. Tree oil is combustible, so you can use it in a compression dynamo to create power. So we could do that as a power route. I don't think that's something that we can really manage necessarily, just because of our current power situation already being so advanced anyway. We process in a refinery to produce various fuels. And you wanted crude oil. Crude oil is crafted via centrifugal separator and bitumen. I think we have lots of bitumen. Yes, so let's get ourselves a centrifugal separator to centrifuge the bitumen out of here. I'm just going to go with the easy recipe because I'm not going to run back. I don't even need a lot of this stuff to be set up permanently, really. Again, this is all super temporary. Resin is also a burnable fuel, which is just another fun FYI for you there. It's just, you know, there are lots of things about this part of thermal that are really cool because you have the ability to sort of start to chain together a bunch of efficient means of processing, which is always fun. So now if we grab bitumen, we'll toss... Hello? Okay, so it has to be the ore. That's doable. Let me go grab some really quickly, and I'll pick up from there. Okay, that was easy enough. So bitumen ore will produce crude oil. Yoink. So crude oil, more machine frames, can be refined. Let me see. Here we go. Crude oil as a fluid can be fractionated into bitumen. Again, also a fuel. And then that can be turned into heavy and light oil. And heavy oil, I think, can be fractionated again into light oil. No, refined fuel. And light oil, I believe, is the same case, refined fuel, if I remember from Create Above and Beyond. Refined fuel. And refined fuel can also be burned in a compression dynamo. That's one bucket produces 15 million RF, which is a lot. If you compared that with the tree oil that we had, that was one bucket produces just 1 million. So it's 15 times more efficient. And then I don't think you can burn this in a compression dynamo. No, good. It's too crude, which is good. But that gets us 2 quests because there's also crude oil for Pneumaticraft, and that's going to be pretty important. Pneumaticraft is a pretty cool mod that I have not played with in a very long time, and I think it'll be very interesting to get into. I haven't played with it since the 1.7 era, so it has been 5 years at least since I played it, which is exciting. I really do look forward to getting in there and diving in. So next up in the thermal series on this branch is to make a compression dynamo. That should be no surprise to you. I don't think we have a lot of bronze. No, not really. So we'll have to get some bronze, and that's pretty easy to do. So at this point, we've been doing a lot of our alloys in the enriching factory, and we can still do that, but the way to really go about it is to make the induction smelter, which is on this chain over here. So let's kind of shift focus into this side of things, and that way we can get that set up, because it really is a very important component to have set up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run power over here, because this is some pretty primary work to be doing. I definitely feel like it would be important to keep up with this and to continue to use it. Let's make some more energy cable blazing. Do we have pipe Z yet, or is it? Nope, okay. Pipes, or pipe Z, however you wish to pronounce it, is a pretty superior piping mod for transmitting power, and I was hoping we had it, but it doesn't look like it. So bronze, I thought we had bronze. Is it Tinker's bronze? It is, okay. So we're gonna want a redstone furnace. that is pretty straightforward. It is a copper gear. Again, I'm going to go for the cheap crafting right now, even though I know we made our little gear mold last time. So that is a Redstone Furnace. This is just a furnace that runs on Redstone Flux. As you know, we have this incredible elite smelting factory. So to me, this is just to get the quests. Invar Dust, easy enough to get because we already have Invar. I think when we made it, we used the alloy kiln, or probably the alloy kiln, to be honest. The only other way to do it is to alloy it in the smeltery. So if we just crush this, that'll get us that quest. How many did we need? Oh, right. We also need the Pulverizer. The Pulverizer is the thermal version of the Crusher. So as we dive into this, right, we're going to have a lot of cases where we're going to need to crush something. And fortunately, we do already have a crusher, so we're good there. But if we hadn't set this up already, especially the crushing factory, then this would be Thermal's solution for that. If you know me, you know that most Let's Plays I go for Thermal, which is why we didn't do that this time around. Now, we are going to need a lot of induction, or for the induction smelter, we're going to need a lot of Invar. So we're going to need to make some, and the best way to make some is to take iron and nickel, and it's a 2-to-1, so for every 2 iron, you have 1 nickel, and I'm just going to crush all of this. I guess I just can't subdivide that at all. And I think this is also one of the other ways we've been surviving with the alloys, is if you crush this into dust, you can usually make a little blend. So this is like the Invar blend, and that's exactly what it wanted us to use the Pulverizer to create. I just didn't see a need for it since we already had this, which is much faster. We'll smelt this. It should be about that many that we're going to need. And then to make the induction smelter, we're going to need a blast furnace from vanilla. Funny to think that there's a vanilla blast furnace. Like, I love it and I use it all the time in vanilla and even early game modded. I just forget about it all the time. But this guy is actually going to live with us. That way we don't have to do all that crushing nonsense anymore. So I believe Enderium is doable for us. Yeah? Maybe? Maybe? Perhaps? I thought there was a blend. Maybe they gated it? I'm curious. Ender Dust. Okay. So it's 3, 2, 1. Oh, we already have a lot of diamond. Ender and lead. So the reason I care is because I would like to get this. I think we're only going to need 10 if my calculations are correct. I would like to get ourselves some Enderium. That way we can improve our blast, or our induction smelter some more. So if we have these integral components, right, the next tier is Enderium, which is here. Because otherwise, this guy's going to be pretty slow. It's still going to work, but it's going to be pretty dang slow. So we're going to also need Lumium. Which is 3 tin, 2 glowstone, 1 silver. I think that should be enough for now. We'll go ahead and do this recipe to get to the Enderium tier. Ender pearls, very nice, very nice. Oh, hello. Thank you, I guess. Well, that's okay. What we can do is use these to make this. And then at this point, that is all we need. And we can go ahead and upgrade this press here. And now it will feel even more worth my time than it ever did. Let's go ahead and make another one of these guys, because this induction smelter is pretty dang slow. And so if we grabbed a redstone flux coil, we can get our high flux coil here. And that should help. Pretty significantly so. Yeah, that's way faster. So Enderium can be used for most of Thermal's end tier. We also had to make it for the Magic Feather. I do remember that much. There are plates. There are... If you can't craft the gear working die, why is that recipe here? Interesting. You can do compact machine wall for some reason. That's the recipe. Is there another recipe? Okay, so metallurgic infuser, flux. Interesting. Very interesting. Oh, this is the new recipe. Okay, I feel like compact machines and everything, the whole mod pack kind of got a little more difficult with the latest update in January. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. So that gets us the induction smelter, and that means that we can get ourselves bronze much more quickly. So let's grab copper and tin, because bronze is the same old recipe that it ever has been. So it is 3 to 1. And there we go. There's some bronze. We will need 2 gears. That's pretty fast for gear crafting, I gotta say. And that should be able to get us the Combustion Dynamo? Was it not combustion? Compression. Here we go. Oh, I guess it was only 1 gear. My bad. So that is the compression dynamo. Like I said, this will produce a good bit of power for us. I don't really know where I would want to put this. Maybe if I grabbed a flux plug, we could just burn some of our buckets of various fuels. You know, I don't remember having those, but okay. So tree oil, here we go. What I can do, this is purely temporary, but I can take the following. Let me think. If I did, whoops. So if I took crude oil, fractionated it into heavy and light. So we would need 3 fractionating stills. Okay, that might be a bit much. So for now, I'll just put this here and just yoink and yoink. I think that'll be fine. Anyways, if we take a look at our network statistics, you'll see, what am I actually looking for? The network connections. Here we go. So if we named this, name is compression. We can look at the network connections, find compression, and you'll see we're producing 40 RF per tick. And that is going to produce 40 RF per tick for, what was it, 15 million RF in total? So you can do the math as far as how many ticks and how long that will burn for, that whole bucket we put in there. But it's going to be a minute, and that's exciting. So that's the end of this fork. We got one of these again. Cool. I don't know what to use it on, but maybe we'll make a machine here in just the next few seconds that will help us out. We already have multi-servo presses. So I'm just going to break that, because it's like the #1 thing that I always go for. We keep on getting these resonant integral components. That's pretty crazy. Like, it's super nice, don't get me wrong. But the thing that I think I'm most interested in on this branch right now is the cured rubber. So to cure rubber, you need to induction smelt sulfur dust and dry rubber. Obviously, dry rubber is not our supply issue. Obviously. Sulfur, I don't think is either. We just need to crush it first. Yeah, we already actually even have some crushed sulfur. So if we just do this, that should get us everything we want. And we're out, which is kind of surprising, honestly. I guess I've just not really been making a lot to need it. Crusher, I'm betting, right? But the cured rubber actually has a ton of purposes. Normally, cured rubber is made just by smelting. I'm really surprised that this recipe has gotten so much more difficult. It almost feels like Enigmatica 6 is in hard mode. Not hard mode. It's like Enigmatica 6 has a medium mode, which is the new default. And then Before, it just felt like a kitchen sink pack with quests. So, I don't know. I'm really happy with these changes. I do like seeing all the integration that Enigmatica 6 has always had, but now with a twist as well, which is super fun. So let's make ourselves a redstone flux cell and a fluid cell. The fluid cell is just a glorified tank. So to make the redstone flux cell, we will need a electrum gear. So if we do electrum really quickly, this will get us the electrum gear that we need to get the redstone flux cell, and that will get us that. So this guy is not currently receiving or storing power at all, but if you put power in it, it will basically just store it and transmit it and whatnot. It doesn't fill from your wireless charger, I guess is what I was really trying to get at. And the fluid cell frame is that other bronze ingot or bronze gear that I accidentally made, so that's helpful. So for the fluid cell that I just put away, it holds 32 buckets. Now there's a cool thing about both of these that few people ever seem to know, so I am excited to show you this if you didn't know this, because it's very cool. These guys are enchantable. Nobody seems to know this, but they're enchantable. You can enchant them. So let me grab some lazuli. I can spell lapis lazuli, in fact. And let's go over to our enchanting table, probably with an insightful crystal. We'll go and fill it up just because it makes it that much easier to get levels. Because I'm going to just go ham and go for level 100. I wonder what the highest level of holding is, actually. Holding 7 is the highest level. And there it is right there at level 78. So, I mean, we have so much XP that I don't see why we wouldn't just go for it. So holding can be enchanted, and soulbound can too. Not that you would really need it, but holding can be put on these. And what holding does is increases the amount of storage. So you notice right now the energy transfer is 1,000 RF per tick, and the energy stored is 1 million RF. If I enchant this, now it has 450%ed itself. Now we are at 4.5 million RF that can be stored. And don't fret, if I put this down and break it, it stores that data. It's going to stay enchanted, so we're not going to lose that enchant. I know a lot of mods have done this before where they do lose the enchant, and it's frustrating and saddening. That is not the case. Looking at the fluid cell, we're at 32 buckets now. If I enchant it, we're at 144 buckets. So these are some of the crazy improvements that you can have on these. I'm actually really surprised that you cannot just transfer that. Anyways, we'll go ahead and empty out this insightful crystal. As you can see, we're doing really well on XP. But there's even more. There's even more, right? So you've got these enchanted. You can also put integral components into these. So if I were to put an integral component, this now goes up to 576 buckets, all in a single block. That's like an insane improvement. And obviously if I... oh, Lord. 144 buckets, or millibuckets per tick input and output. 144,000. 36,000 would be the default. And then 4,000 up and down versus 1,000 up and down of FE per tick, which can also be augmented with some of the other augments, like the high flux, I believe, can go in here, and that will greatly improve that. Yeah, so that's 6, and then you can go all the way up to 24 if you combine these. So people just, I don't think everyone really knows that the flux cell is now augmentable and upgradable and enchantable. All things that aren't really mentioned a whole lot and aren't really shown off a whole lot. So I think that that's really important, and that a lot of people should know this if they are looking at redstone storage or RF storage, because it gets overlooked really regularly. Making sure that these are both empty. This is just something really cool that I think a lot of people underappreciate when they look into thermal. I've been thinking about possibly doing a spin-off series of thermal where you can see where I just do a thermal world. There's no other mods, maybe a couple world gen mods, but nothing else, just vanilla and thermal, and just kind of deep dive into it. Anyways, so the Aqueous Accumulator, I think most people who have ever played modded Minecraft know what this is. It's just like the sink that we've been using for ages now, except it is a little more balanced and it requires neighboring water sources to work. But since we have sinks, I've been using them, even though I don't really care for cooking for blockheads. I do enjoy just being able to have a sink. Oh, we got hardened glass, and I didn't know it was immune to wither. That's news to me. Very cool. I know right now it seems like we're just making a bunch of stuff that we're never going to use, but if we have a centrifugal separator. If we go ahead and make these now, you know, we're going to have them for later. We can keep them stored up, and we won't have to deal with a lot of this, you know. We're still burning that tree oil, too. That's impressive. What was the quest name? Up against a wall? So more reinforced integral components, and I think we're done with the centrifugal separator at this point. The Vac Accumulator is a vacuum hopper, essentially. So we'll get one of those. The Igneous Extruder will... oh, yes, it produces cobblestone for you. Fortunately, we already have a cobblestone generator, but if we didn't, that would be a very good route to go. And I'm curious about the Blast Chiller's recipes. So there are a lot of recipes that let you chill molten metal into an ingot, and that's fine. But I'm curious just to see what other types of recipes are here. It looks like a lot of honey recipes for resourceful bees. There's sulfur. I don't know how you would ever manage to melt sulfur. It's more of a powdery material. Shadow steel can be molten. I did not know that. So it looks like it's mostly just casting, which is cool that you can do that in a block. I don't think that that's really necessary. But, I mean, I don't know. If you are really, really into that, then a blast chiller in combination with a... oh, it's actually not part of this, but a magma crucible would help you out here. And I think that could be pretty cool. Anyways, moving right along here. Let's go and make two of these, because I know we're going to need them. The Vac Accumulator, like I said, it is a vacuum hopper. Ooh, I've never actually seen it before. This is really a cool texture. You can augment it, of course, to help improve its range. And then you can control what gets sucked in and out with a filter upgrade, I believe, is what you would need, right? So a filter from thermal, like so. You toss that in, and now you can filter what can be picked up. Always useful. Actually, I should grab that, because item filters are actually very, very useful to have. And then the Igneous Extruder, here it is. I thought it was... No, not the Igneous Extruder, the Magma Crucible, that's right. So let's go ahead and gear this guy up. And get ourselves a piston. And that gets the Igneous Extruder. It accepts... I feel like this user interface is different. I feel like this user interface is different. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I feel like it's different. Let's grab a bucket of water and a bucket of lava. Does this just work differently now? There's a block that you have to place beneath it. So let's say we wanted to make smooth stone. Well, really we want to make cobblestone. I wonder... We have fire tick turned off because I like to build with fire and I don't want to have to worry about that. Is it like IRL now? It is. Okay. This used to be a machine that would require some power and stuff, so things have slightly changed with it, and I was a little confused. That's cool. I like that. So yeah, the Igneous Extruder is very cool for cobble generating without causing a significant amount of lag. Very useful in that sense. We do already have our own cobble gen dimension, so again, I've been kind of working outside of the thermal box this series. If you feel like that I should start doing some of these other thermal machines, of course let me know. But this is the system that we've had set up for a good little while now. That just sits here dedicated in a corner and generates everything. So, looking into the rest of the quest line here, we have rare thermal boxes. We got the same loot table both times. We did not get the blast chiller. I need to get that. So the blast chiller is ice, which is actually not the hardest thing to get a hold of because we've got so much world gen and traveling that we've already done. So let's go ahead and grab Invar. I should just smelt this. I don't know why I didn't. Put that there while we load the blast chiller requisites up. We're also going to need one of these. We'll do that. And then we'll grab these. And that gets us a blast chiller. Like I said, I don't know that we're really going to need one, but I'm going to put it here for now. It will take in water, and will extract ice if you just give it water all the time. I don't think I can do this, but I'm going to try. Oh, I can. Okay, cool. I was worried that my infinite water bucket would be emptied, so that's actually nice. And this will create ice for us on just water, which is super cool whenever you have a world that's big and you don't have a whole lot of ice so far. It's just nice to have. And that gets us an auxiliary reaction chamber. Increases generation rate, reduces the efficiency. And that's for dynamos. So that leaves us with only two other things. The sequential fabricator, which is a auto crafter that can be prefabricated, and the phytogenic insulator. So the phytogenic insulator, super, super cool. Instead of creating that large farm that I created last episode, you can see there are 141 times 4, so that would be, what, 420? Right? 564. I promise I can math. That will produce 564 different possible outcomes. Most flowers, most trees, most crops can be grown and reproduced in here. And it's at the cost of water and fertilizer, usually. And that's usually optional, as you can see. So it's mostly just water and coming up with a way to cycle the outputs. So this is a really super useful way to do stuff like reproduce a bunch of coral blocks or flowers that you particularly like. If they don't already have a botany pot recipe, that's a great way to go about it. So the sequential fabricator, we do still want that. I don't know why I started to remove that recipe. We're going to need 2 more of these. I can tell because both of these take up power. So that's how you know that these use certain components, right? And we're going to need a copper gear and a aluminum gear. The aluminum part makes sense. Copper. And we can simply gear these up. And that's going to get us a phytogenic insulator and a sequential fabricator if we made a crafting table. What am I missing? Oh, I'm missing the fulminating grenade, the glacial grenade. I think that's it. I think that's all we're missing. So like I said, the sequential fabricator, look, I'm going to be real. I actually don't know much about this one. I'm interested now. So let's say we wanted to teach you how to make Invar nuggets. Okay, so that's that. And then it has a buffer. So you give it a buffer and you give it some power, I assume? We're learning together today. And it's going to autocraft that. I don't think that there's like a tabbed sequence or anything that allows you to, like, if you get what I'm saying here, there's like, unlike the RF tools crafter, there's only one means or one form of actually getting, what am I saying? You can't chain recipes together in the one block. You definitely need more than the one block to do multiple recipes. You'll need multiple blocks. But that's fine. I still think that's a pretty cool mechanic if you're looking for something that maybe can't be easily auto-crafted. So let's take our Blitz mote, and you know what? Unless there's already just integration. Oh, there is. Never mind. We will enrich that to get ourselves a fulminating grenade. We'll go have fun with those here in a minute. And for the Glacial Grenade, we're going to need Blizz Cube and Blizz Powder. And that gets us the Glacial Grenade. And that's the end of thermal. This is most of the content that thermal has to add at the moment. Now, that being said, I didn't use any of it, and it's mostly because there's a lot of redundancy between mechanism and thermal, and as such, there's not really a whole lot of need to go for both in this particular case. But anyways, that's what the fulminating grenade does. It causes lightning to strike all in one place, and then the glacial grenade causes a great big deal of frost in one area, and I think that's pretty cool. As it's getting nighttime, I'd love to try this out on like a creeper or something and see if we can get a charged creeper using this method, just because I'm always a curious individual. Oh yeah, I forgot. If you hold down shift while falling, you fall slower while you have the flugel tiara on. Well, let's see if I can find a creeper. Here we go, our first unwilling subject. And then if we did a glacial grenade, that's just going to slow all these guys down. Pretty neat. Do we have any of the other grenade types? I don't remember. Yeah, we have all of them. So I haven't really played with these at all. The Inferno Grenade, if you couldn't guess, it's fire. It's fire. Everything is fire now. And the Tectonic Grenade, I don't actually know. I think it's a... Yeah, it causes a hole. Okay. Okay, I see. That was a long amount of fire. I'm just going to say it. But yeah, very cool. The Tectonic Grenade would be really interesting to use for, like, cutting down a tree or something, maybe? Or, like, terraforming? Because that's a lot of blocks, and it seems to drop 100% of them. Let's go ahead and grab our Eye of Flugel, because I would like to fly. And, let's see, the Inferno Grenade and the Glacial. These two are just really neat. Oh, that was so close. I didn't want that poor Tasmanian devil to get hurt. Well, that's super cool. Well, there you go. That's most of thermal expansion in a nutshell. I haven't played with any of it, but you know me, I don't really, like, we're at a point where we no longer need machinery. We no longer need building. We no longer need, you know, functional machines. We do whole setups and things that are kind of complicated at this phase of the game. So I feel like it's only fair that we didn't really use a lot of these things, because in the end of the day, the case is mostly just the fact that, you know, we don't really need individual machines on a whim to do processing. Like, it's no longer the case that, oh, we've been dying to do ore doubling for a long time now, because we're not. We're totally fine, and we have already got some setups that do that. But if we come down the line and we want to say, okay, well, we need ore tripling, and that's going to require X, Y, or Z, then that's when we can call into action a lot of these thermal machines that we've already crafted, or a lot of them that we've crafted and we're already using somewhere else. And so they can all kind of come into play. And I think that's really the main premise. So I know that this entire Let's Play revolves around getting the quests done, right? And I know that today, this episode felt a lot like just getting the quest done, just to get the quest done. But the fact of it is there's a lot of redundancy between mechanism and thermal, and if you recall, like the old days, Ender.io. There's a lot of redundancy and functionality here, and even in magic mods, like, you know, right now we're using a Ginny to do ore processing, which is something I never thought I would say. So fact of the matter is, sometimes it's just not fully necessary to use every single component from every single mod. So let me know what you guys think. I hope you guys are okay with the fact that we didn't fully take advantage of that. But, you know, really, a lot of times it's easy to do the same thing with magic mods, and I'm trying my hardest to fully evaluate and utilize and emulate early game utilization of a lot of these mods, just because really there's just so much to it. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm sorry that it was a little bit of a quest hunt and not much else. Ooh, getting really close to me. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.